Welcome to my coffee table book video, Port Ludlow and Beyond Through My Eyes. I'm Bryan Diehl, and it's my pleasure to share these photographs with you today. Throughout this video, I will be talking about each and every photograph individually. If you don't have a copy of the coffee table book, it is available and the link is in the description below. So let's get started. Just to start off, this is a picture of Mount Baker and the Admiralty Inlet with Whidbey Island in between, and in the foreground is the inn at Port Ludlow, the beach club, the townhouses, and Burner Point totem pole. So this is a photograph of Burner Point, which is probably the nicest beach in Port Ludlow. It also is the home of the inn, and there's a group of townhouses there. This is all open to the public for beach walking and sunbathing. You will see the totem pole there. We'll talk about that some more in some later photographs. Here is a shot taken from my Phantom 4 Pro drone of Burner Point and Heron Beach. I took this on an early on a Sunday morning in October of 2019. Just had spectacular lighting, Mount Baker in the distance, got the little haze, a boat coming in. It's really one of my favorite photos of Port Ludlow. This photograph is a panorama that shows the Cascade Mountains from Mount Baker all the way along, not quite to Mount Rainier. It also shows the Port Ludlow Marine End and again the Burner Point. And it shows that Port Ludlow is still a village in the woods by the bay. That is kind of downtown Port Ludlow we're looking at right there. This one's another one of my real favorite photos. And sometimes you just get lucky. My wife and I were coming home one afternoon in November, and coming home from Costco, got to the marina, saw the way the sun was shining on the inn, and I had to jump out. So pulled over, jumped out, launched my Mavic Mini, and snapped this quick shot just at the perfect lighting moment. This is a photograph of the sailboat that my wife and I bought for our honeymoon back in 1994. My son and his girlfriend are sailing it. In the background there on the beach is the oldest building in Port Ludlow, the old beach house. And off to the left of that is the big red tree, which is a beech tree that was given to the family that lived there 100 years ago by the Japanese emperor as a gift for a timber transaction. This is another spectacular drone photograph that brings out the essence of the Port Ludlow Marina. This photograph captures the colors and the feel and some of the wildlife of the Port Ludlow Marina. This is a photo of the inn at Port Ludlow with some of the townhouses off to the side there, taken across the beautiful reflection of the lagoon. Here's another beautiful angle of the inn at Port Ludlow, taken an early Sunday morning in October last year. Now, I really love this photo of Port Ludlow because it shows the human activity. You don't really see a lot of photos with the humans in them in Port Ludlow because it's such a naturally beautiful place. But this shows human interaction, the sailboats on the pond, everybody just enjoying summertime in Port Ludlow. Really makes me smile. Short walks in the morning sunlight down by the marina often present beautiful opportunities to capture just stunning images of the Port Ludlow area. This is one of those images. I love the colors and the steam coming off the water. Late afternoon, winter twilight really brings out the colors, the reflection of the clouds. It's just an inspiring photo. This photo captures the essence of why people come to Port Ludlow to rest and relax for the weekend. I took this, what I believe is a spectacular panorama of Port Ludlow, from my sailboat one afternoon using my iPhone, and this is on a wavy ocean. It still ended up coming out pretty good. Gives us a real good feel for how Port Ludlow waterfront sits. And it shows how the Olympic Mountains protect us from the rains and the storms off the Pacific Ocean. This photograph, taken from about 200 feet up on my drone, looks from the south to the north over Diehl Lake Village, and then of course Burner Point, the marina, Port Ludlow, off towards Port Townsend in the distance. Here I'm looking east from about 100 feet above my house. You see Talla Point, and then the further point is Foulweather Bluff, and in between them is the Hood Canal. Beyond that is the Puget Sound. Photographers talk about the golden hour, and this is a prime example of a photo taken at the golden hour, with the water, the reflections, the mist, and the mountains in the distance. It's just beautiful. This is a mid-January photograph looking west from Burner Point. In the foreground, you got a boat and the cottages at the Cove in Port Ludlow. And then the majestic Olympic Mountains with brand new fresh snow. Just beautiful. In August of 2017, we had a solar eclipse that was visible from Northern California to mid-Washington. And I came down to the marina to watch the solar eclipse, only to find that it was extremely foggy. So we ended up not having to use glasses to watch the eclipse, but we didn't see it as clearly as others did. I still managed to get a great shot with beautiful reflections and the fog. So it was a pretty good day. This is the early morning summer mist that we get in Port Ludlow, particularly in June, and just makes for some beautiful photographs. This was one of them. I really can't get enough of the sailboats in the mountains. out here in Port Ludlow. And this really gave me an opportunity to use some creativity, make something that I think is interesting to look at. When I'm flying my drone, I don't do a lot of straight down shots, but this particular one really, I think, was interesting and fun to look at. It's just fun to look at. So I really like this picture. Every time I look at this photo, I am reminded of the many evening and moonlight sails that we've experienced out on Ludlow Bay. It's just a beautiful and inspirational setting. I enjoy this photo because of the way the colors just pop. I love the mountains, the boats, the masts. But you'll also notice that is ice on top of the bay. A very cold winter morning this one was. Sunsets, of course, are everybody's favorite subject. But here in Port Ludlow in the Puget Sound area, we've got the Olympic Mountains as a backdrop and enough moisture in the air to give us some really spectacular colors. And then you add the reflection of the water and boy, you got a winner. This image is the schooner Mary Ellen. She comes to visit us early in the summer, most every year. And it's just a beautiful schooner. How could you not want a print of the Mary Ellen hanging in your living room? How could you not? Sometimes you just get lucky. And this particular shot is the epitome of luck for me. I happened to have the opportunity to skipper an 86-foot yacht, and as I was bringing it back into Ludlow Bay, these Etchels were racing on their way out of the bay. Managed to step out onto the deck and get a great shot. Probably the best Etchel shot we've ever produced out here in Port Ludlow. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to El Leon, a 172-foot yacht that just came into Port Ludlow for a week or so and showed off its beauty. Anyway, got some great pictures. You look on my videos, you'll see some videos of her underway. Beautiful boat. So this is Burner Point on a January morning. A good look at the totem pole, the Olympic Mountains in the distance, and the frost and the mist. There's just so much going on here. Beautiful colors too. I love this photograph. This picture is our famous Port Ludlow totem pole. It's an authentic Native American cedar hand-carved totem that tells the story of Port Ludlow, Washington. This is the marquee shot of the Port Ludlow golf course. It's the second hole looking straight down the fairway to Mount Baker. This photo captures Mount Baker in the distance from the first green on the Port Ludlow golf course. Out here in Port Ludlow, even our wildlife isn't very wild. It's a beautiful deer out in the grass. This shot captures the essence of the Pacific Northwest with the mist, the golf course with the water, mountains off in the distance, a forest, It really has everything the Pacific Northwest has to offer, particularly in terms of lighting and textures and atmosphere. I love this shot. This particular image brings together all of the best parts of the Port Ludlow golf course. The pond, the greens, the forest. It's just a beautiful example of what you're going to experience on the Port Ludlow golf course. Even when I'm fishing my ball out, I can still find the beauty of the water hazard, as I did here. The cattails are just gorgeous. I captured this photo down by the totem pole in early summer during a really nice little rainstorm. This is another example of how a little bit of rain can really make the world a beautiful place. This image captures the view that you experience as you come down the cart path on the second hole of the Port Ludlow golf course, looking out across the bay at Burner Point and the marina. I call this my inspirational image because every time I look at it, I always think, yeah, I can sink this putt. So this is the view from the drop spot on the 8th hole of the Port Ludlow golf course. I hit a lot of balls from this spot. This captures the essence of golf and the walk in the park that is golf. Twilight golf and the golden hour of photography. What a combination. It's just beautiful. The iconic Port Ludlow waterfall shot. Don't miss the waterfall in Port Ludlow. This is a slightly longer exposure shot of the Port Ludlow waterfall, and it really just gives it the motion. Halfway around the Ludlow Falls loop, you'll find this little sitting area that is just a feast for your eyes. This captures the beautiful scenery at Ludlow Creek, just below the falls. So now I've stepped out into the surrounding communities. This is the Chimacum Valley, and you're looking at Chimacum High School property. Just a beautiful, beautiful valley. Our largest city in Jefferson County is Port Townsend. This is the Jefferson County Courthouse that sits in Port Townsend as the county seat. What a magnificent building to photograph. This drone photograph captures not only the county courthouse, but also the Kaitai Lagoon. This image gives you some real appreciation for the masterful masonry work that went into building the county courthouse. You can't visit Port Townsend without at least walking by the ferry dock if you don't actually go take a ride on the ferry. Port Townsend is called a Victorian seaport, and this is one of the historic Victorian buildings in downtown on Water Street. This photo captures some of the wonderful maritime tourist attractions from Point Hudson and the Maritime Center. This is the Northwest Maritime Center and its Compass Rose, located at the end of Water Street. Just across the bay from Port Townsend on Marrowstone Island, here's another example of the golden hour. I love taking photos of lighthouses. This particular lighthouse is at Fort Worden in Port Townsend on Point Wilson. This is another shot of that same Point Wilson lighthouse with just a little different background and lighting. This panorama of the same Point Wilson lighthouse shows how dramatically things change as far as the skies and the lighting from moment to moment. So it's always beautiful to go to Fort Worden or Fort Flagler and take pictures any time of the year. From East Beach on Marrowstone Island, looking across at Whidbey Island and over the island to Mount Baker in the distance. It's just a beautiful place to watch the ships, the tugs, the freighters. It is the shipping lanes, and in the summertime, when it's not COVID, we have cruise ships that go by here, and you can get pretty close up to them, really within within a mile anyway. Beautiful, beautiful boats. These shots were taken from my Phantom 4 drone. These next few images were taken from the resort on the southwest corner of Marrowstone Island, looking south toward Rainier on this one, and on the next one. You will notice that day to day the scenery changes, different atmosphere, different flowers. It's just ever changing and ever beautiful. This is a panorama taken from the beach cottages at Marrowstone, or the Ecologic Resort, as it's called. And then this is another one from the deck of the lodge at the resort, looking out over the estuary toward the north. This image was just inspiring to me. She is the guardian angel of Marrowstone Island, and I love her. I couldn't show pictures of Port Ludlow without showing off my wife and son's sunflower. It's not really the only one. Along with the sunflower, we've got some other beautiful, beautiful flowers that grow because it's sunny and it's damp. Life is good in Port Ludlow. As my photos spread farther and farther from Port Ludlow, we look off to the west as the sun sets over the Olympics. This shot is virtually the same as the last shot, only earlier in the daytime. This panorama looks over the forests that lie between Port Ludlow and the Olympic Mountains. And this panorama is those same Olympic Mountains from the ocean side, from Ocean Shores, looking over Grays Harbor. And these are from Damon Point, Ocean Shores, on Grays Harbor, looking east at the Olympic Mountains. This shot is from Salisbury Park on Kitsap Peninsula, looking south over the Hood Canal Bridge at another angle of our beautiful, majestic Olympic Mountains. Over by Salisbury Park, this is Port Gamble, and these are just some beautiful pictures of the church in Port Gamble, taken in the fall. Since we do have a sailboat, we do get to go up and experience the San Juans. This photo was taken early in the morning in Friday Harbor before it had a chance to clear up for the day. This is from Little Susha looking towards Susha Island. This beautiful estuary is right at the Crescent Beach on the Strait of Juan de Fuca. So in our travels along the coast, my wife and I enjoy taking pictures of bridges. This is a bridge over the Elwha heading out towards the Washington coast. This is a railroad trestle on the way to Ocean Shores. Here's another beautiful fall picture of a railroad trestle on the way again to Ocean Shores. Out toward Forks, this is a suspension bridge made of wood that just photographs brilliantly. I love these photos. Now this series of shots kind of fun. We took this shot in 2016 in April on a spring vacation. Both of those similar shots. And then returned in January of 2020, took the same shot. We had just had a big storm, cleared out all the debris and wiped out the stairway there. You can see the 2016 to 2021. I'm sure by April the logs will be back. This is the stairway down to the next beach up. And this is probably one of the most iconic shots of the Pacific Washington coast. This is out at Ruby Beach. Beautiful, beautiful place to take photos. I love the reflections. This is an exercise in colors and textures. Speaking of colors and textures, when you get to this last one here, this is just, I could look at this picture all day long. But then you gotta have some fun. So this picture was taken with my Osmo OM4, and it's called a clone shot. So Cindy and John, our friends, were playing on the beach with us, and we got 3 shots of us all at the same time. Sometimes you just gotta have a little fun. Thanks, John and Cindy. It was a good time. So headed up Highway 101, you will find Lake Quinault and the Lake Quinault Lodge. Lake Quinault is just a beautiful, beautiful place to take pictures, as you can see. This one's another panorama, all the way from the rental boats up to the lawn where you can feed the geese. This is taken at Rialto Beach, my favorite beach. If you like to skip rocks, that's your beach. Seems like every rock on this entire beach is flat and skippable. And most of them are the same size. It's just amazing. Beautiful beach. This photo is just some dogwood flowers that are just too pretty to not take pictures of. I'm ashamed to say that this picture my wife had to beg me and almost command me to take. I just didn't see it. But it's a great picture of the seagulls wintering on the Oregon coast. So this is a spectacular shot of the Waukena Bay Bridge in Newport, Oregon. Now on Nye Beach in Newport, I took the time to get some foreground shots, picked up these beautiful rocks with the Waukena lighthouse in the background, well in the background, again with the foreground on the grass. This shot, I used the grass as a foreground as opposed to the sunset in the background. From there we headed up to Cannon Beach and got this shot through the mangroves. And finished up with just really a beautiful picture of the beach at Cannon Beach with some people on it. So now I'm running out of coffee. It's getting cold. I'll let you folks put down the coffee table book and get on with your lives. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and the coffee table book. Hope that you will continue to enjoy the book for as long as you live. I'm Bryan Diehl. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my photographs with you.